The right deal at the right time with the right guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think just as I've said before, we respect Bryan so much as a player, as a person, and we work hard to settle these things before exchange, and for whatever reason, we just didn't quite get there this time around with Bryan, and so we wanted to keep the door open and see if there's a way to find a different solution, and thankful we did, and Bryan's been great, and working with us through the process, and glad we could get it done, and put our energy back towards baseball on the field.
He said he hadn't heard much from you guys about this until a few days ago. Did something change, or I guess when did it become clear? Like, okay, we're gonna make a push now to get this done.
I think as soon as we got past exchange, we knew that, hey, because we really did work hard, and he worked hard to try to find a way to settle it. I think, before exchange, we just didn't quite get there. And so I think once we got past that, we knew that, look, there's a possibility to get to hearing. We need to be prepared for that. But if there's a way to solve it without doing that, let's keep thinking about that. And so we were looking at it right away. It may have, just in the course of getting out of spring training and everything going on, it may have taken a few days to engage with Bryan on it. But once we did, he was great about just working with us on it and find a way to figure it out. And again, just I'm thankful, and knowing Bryan, he cares about playing so much. Just allows us to put the energy back on the field.
Yeah.
In being able to handle this now, and have these next 2 years kind of locked up, how encouraging is that in terms of moving potentially towards a longer-term deal?
Yeah, but I'd really, rather not say anything about contracts. I think especially in season, it's just, just prefer to keep our focus on the field. We're thankful. Obviously, he's a Pirate. He's a really good player and a really good person, a really good teammate. We're lucky he's here, and he wants to win. We want to win. We want to work with each other towards that as fast as we possibly can.
And he'll still have 2 years of ARB after this, right? Just want to make sure there's no secret brew in the CBA or whatever that I missed.
You're right.
Why 2 years then? Was it just that a time matter, working out something at a different length would have just, you could be working on it until June or July, and instead let's just do this now rather than have the chance?
Yeah, I think it's just, if we're there's a reason. The reason why we have the policy we do at the exchange, in terms of settle or expect to go to hearing, is because we think, and a lot of other teams feel the same way, that it's just the best and most efficient way to get to settlements and try to clear it and focus our energy on playing. So we have that policy for a reason. We worked hard to settle. We didn't quite get there. Once you're past, obviously, that particular option is no longer an option, right? Like, we're not gonna change our policy. But that has nothing to do with whether we want to work with Bryan Reynolds and still try to avoid getting in a hearing room if we can avoid it. And so this is just a way to do that. And it requires, like anything else, requires like Bryan and the team, looking at it from different angles, and just happen to line up where over 2 years we were able to find some common ground and figure out a way to do it. I just think it's good for him, good for us, and he can play, and we can focus on building the team.
You said, and correct me if I misunderstood you, but you said like not changing the policy of expecting to go to a hearing, but why do you want to avoid it with Bryan then? I mean, obviously it's a sort of a nasty
I think we'd rather avoid it with anyone.
Yeah.
I'm not singling out Bryan in that. I think I've said before, we'd prefer to avoid it with
right.
everyone. We work hard to avoid it. You can't always avoid it, and sometimes you get to hearing. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. But if you can avoid it, you avoid it. And in this case, we just had to figure out a different way to avoid it.
Right.
Do you think this is something that's going to have a really good positive message for the clubhouse? Like, you could say, Key, Bryan, they're clubhouse guys. You want to look them at as leaders, but it's also, we're putting this investment into them, so that, we feel the same way.
Yeah. I mean, we believe in both of those guys, and you know, I trust our players enough to let them make that determination of, you know, what kind of message it sends. We're not specifically trying to send a message. We're just trying to, you know, we're trying to have good relationships with our players, and we're trying. In those two cases, they're really important guys, and I'm happy we were able to work out something that, you know, with both of them, and they both share with us a desire for our energy to be on the field, and, you know, working towards getting better here and building something, and I believe they want to be a part of that, and they love to play, and they love to be out there with their teammates, and they'd rather be focused on that than anything else.